and welcome to the Major Series, presented to you by the Commerce International Society. In this series, we will be unpacking all of the UNSW Business School's 2022 Commerce Majors, giving you fresh insights from industry experts and professionals who have not only done, but also succeeded in the area of study in the past. My name is Christelle, and I am the 2022 Careers Director for Commerce International Society. And in this episode, we will be diving into the Information Systems major with our speaker today, Akhil Bonu. Would you like to introduce yourself, Akhil?
Sure. So my name is Akhil. I am currently a graduate at Westpac in the technology sector. I did the Information Systems co-op degree from 2017 and I graduated in 2020.
What has been keeping you busy at the moment? Now that you've graduated?
I strangely actually had a lot more time now that I've graduated than when I was at uni, because when I was at uni, it was studying and also working full-time a lot. I've been trying to get back into reading, so there's like a stack of books behind me that you can see. I just finished reading Obama's memoir, and I've started reading a book called Reinventing Your Life. And when I say I'm trying to get back into it, I mean trying to read more than 10 pages a day.
That's good.
I'm also starting a new role at work, so I'm moving into cybersecurity from next week. And so now I've just been trying to do some background research and reading, trying to get prepared to kind of hit the ground running, as it were. And also trying to lose the weight I put on during the pandemic.
I think that's a universal thing, especially after every lockdown that we've had. Oh, good.
Yeah, I say I'm trying, but then with the heat, I also discovered anything the rest of the life.
So today we will be unpacking information systems, as we've mentioned. What is the study of information systems? How would you define that in your own words?
I think people from the outside tend to view it as a very IT degree or a very tech degree. I would say that's one part of a tripod of people, processes, and technology. And it's about using those three things to solve business and human-centered problems. And then when you go into it, there's, then the question becomes, what kind of problems are you trying to solve? What kind of technology and people and processes are you trying to use to solve those problems? Most degrees that you do in university are problem-solving degrees. Then the question is how you go about solving those problems. And in information systems, we look at how we use the latest trends in technology and in processes, and how we leverage different roles and our teams to get that work done.
So I'll just explain for our audience the difference between the major of Information Systems for Commerce and also the degree. So with the major, you only do 48 units of credit of Information Systems courses. 30 of them are mandatory, and then 18 of your own choice. Another prerequisite of it will be the integrated first year course, which is 1190. Can you tell us a little bit more about your educational background and how your experience studying information systems was?
Sure. So I think my understanding of the difference between doing a straight Info Sys degree and doing it as a major is that the majors is generally a lot less technical, or the courses that are mandatory aren't nearly as technical. They tend to be more business-centered courses. And then the elective, there's options of doing more technical courses if that takes your fancy. So like I said, I started in 2017. I had a 4-year degree. So the 3 is information systems, and I did a year for my honors. And I did my thesis on gig platforms and workforce management. So basically about how platforms like Uber, etc., use technology to help them manage their workers as well as their customers. I think during my degree, I also was fortunate enough to be able to intern at a few different places. I think I ended up doing about probably 4 or 5 internships. I'm remembering right now. And like I said, when I graduated, I'm in a grad role now at Westpac, about to start a role in cybersecurity and research. I think overall, I really loved my uni experience. I think most people do. Part of it was the degree, I enjoyed what I studied, but part of it was also the fact that taking advantage of extracurricular opportunities, that's really where most of your uni experience comes in.
So did you always know that you wanted to do information systems? And what aspects were what you expected and what were different?
I definitely didn't know that I wanted to do it until more or less I accepted the offer. I don't think most people in their late teens or early 20s can say with any confidence what they want to do for sure. Some people do, and that's great for you, but I would say the majority of people our age don't really know what they want to do. I would say people even my age, once they've graduated, aren't completely sure. I definitely thought it'd be more of an IT degree, or I was expecting it, like I said before, to be very technical, and I was terrified because I didn't know anything about coding and whatnot. So I kind of went in. I didn't really go in with any expectations. I knew it was a business tech degree, but that's kind of about it. For a regular Info Sys degree, it's probably about 65-70% business, 30 to 40% technical.
Yeah.
And then for majors, it's probably more on the business side than the technical side, and then you can do more technical courses or two.
So what would you say are the highlights and also the lowlights of your experience studying Info Sys?
The teaching staff at UNSW for information systems is really, really great. I don't think I've ever had a bad lecturer or a bad tutor for any of my courses. What makes them really good is that they keep their courses relevant. Like, they regularly update it to reflect what's going on in the world and what the latest trends are. They keep it very career focused as well, which is really useful when you're trying to break into the industry. Like, for example, like, just all the assignments are like business case related, and they're quite realistic, I'd say. And just over the course of doing a lot of certain uni assignments, you end up actually creating real projects that end up being useful when you're applying for a job, because they've seen that you've actually done something very similar to what happens in the real world before. You're going to meet a lot of very entrepreneurial and well-rounded people, which is something that I personally really like, because I strive to kind of have a balance in all areas of my life, and I try to be as well-rounded as possible. In terms of lowlights, look, I mean, as useful and as important as they are, it is very group assignment focused. Like, pretty much every course we've done has a group assignment in it. And I thought that was normal until I talked to other majors, and that's not the case. So they can get a little bit irritating sometimes, but it's an important life lesson to learn, just to know how to work in a team and work with conflicting interests. The content in information systems isn't seen as difficult as, say, your finance or actuarial. However, what makes the degree difficult isn't the content of the theory, it's how much focus is on the application. So it's not enough for you to know the textbook or to read the theory. It's about, okay, well, how well can I apply it in a practical context, and how can I shape what I do to suit my audience, so the lecturer or the business case or anything like that. And I think it's a low light, and that's a bit of a learning curve, because that's not what you learn in high school at all. And it's just, that's so much of your marks comes from the application, not just the theory. But again, it's a valuable learning lesson, but it takes a bit of time to pick that up, I think. One that doesn't get advertised as much as it should be, in my opinion, are people interested in startups. The reason is because information systems is very much about wearing different hats, so business analyst, developer, scrum master, product owner, being able to sell your product to different stakeholders. These are all skills that you learn within the first year of information systems, right? So anyone that's interested in the startup space, and I would recommend everyone to check out the startup space, even if they don't know much about it. Information systems really is the perfect comm major for that. Another one is people who aren't maybe sure what they want to go into, and the reason is because information systems is very much a generalist degree, which means that you get the opportunity to try a few different areas, and it really helps you kind of figure out what kind of work you like and what you don't like. So instead of trying to think about the role, you're exploring different kinds of work. People who very much enjoy problem solving and who enjoy kind of collaborating with others, information systems very much teaches you is a team effort, and you're not going to solve any business case on your own. It's about kind of pulling together different talents towards a common goal. Sydney and Australia in general is considered one of the best sort of startup ecosystems in the world. We're behind, I think, Sweden and South Korea and a few other places. But that's in terms of the opportunities that are here, the government assistance that's available, the opportunity that existing entrepreneurs provide to newcomers. Sydney is considered one of the best places to try get it into the startup space. So if you're interested in that at all, like, information systems is a really great way to break into that.
What advice would you give to information systems students, both present and potential?
If you don't know what you want to do, I would say information systems is a good place to start. You will very quickly figure out what you like and more importantly, what you don't like. It also pairs well with most other majors. So if you're doing a double major degree, information systems goes really well with pretty much every other commerce major. So it's keep an open mind is what I would say, and don't be afraid of the technical stuff. I think a lot of people don't go into technical areas because they're afraid of coding because they weren't taught it in high school. That's starting to change now because high school kids are being taught that more and more, but sort of our age, we weren't exposed to it at all most of the time. It's a lot easier to get into it than you might think. I did not know any coding going in, and now I taught Android app development at uni. One of my rotations at Westpac was to work on the help design the new BT app, so it's a lot easier to get into than you might believe. For current students, I would say don't feel like you need to pick something to specialize in right away. You've got plenty of time for that, and you don't need to know exactly what you want to do from the get-go. And oftentimes, trying to do that too early can be to your detriment because you'll close yourself to different opportunities. Grad jobs, I think, is something that causes a lot of stress for current students as well, trying to think, I want to get into the perfect company, I need to get into a massive place, I need to kind of get like a massive starting salary and all these things. And these are all important, no one's saying they're not. But they understandably cause a lot of stress. But keep in mind, in technology especially, the average time that you spend in a company is about 2 to 5 years before you move on. It's not like it was 20, 30 years ago where you'd be there for a good part of your life. Moving around is a lot more common now. So where you start off, yes, it does matter to an extent, but it is not going to define your career by any means. So don't feel like it's the end of the world if you don't get into the company that you want to get into. The other thing is for current students, and this is something that doesn't get talked about nearly enough, I think, is the company culture and the team culture matters as much, if not more, than say your starting pay or things like that. Because the biggest, most important thing about where you start is it a stepping stone to greater things, right? Because you're not going to be doing your first job forever. So it's about, all right, am I going to be able to learn a lot? Am I going to be able to grow in that role? Am I going to enjoy being there? And the company culture and the team culture really defines that. And for both, for current and just general advice, just don't be afraid to reach out and make connections. I don't like doing it. It's a very difficult thing to do or to learn how to do. But you would be shocked at how many job offers and opportunities come from these, just reaching out to someone on LinkedIn or reaching out to someone at a uni event, for example.
Amazing. Yeah, fun fact. That's how I reached out to Akhil through LinkedIn. All right. Yeah, thanks for that. I had some takeaways from that as well, personally, as an Info Sys student myself. So moving on to our more career-related questions. What are the career opportunities available through this major? I know you've mentioned, working within a startup, a lot of course, tech opportunities. But yeah, in your opinion, what would they be?
It's very, very wide ranging is what I would say from the outset. If you go to sort of pretty much every major service company in Australia and you look at any role and the kind of degrees that they look for, information systems will be listed as one of them in pretty much every case. And it's because Info Sys is a very generalist degree, very wide range of industry. Just even in I'm 22, even in the last few years, I've worked in media, financial services, currently in banking, I've been in consulting and in pharmaceuticals, right? That's just within the last few years, and there's more out there that I don't even know of. The kind of roles that are out there very much depends on your interests. So product management, business analyst, sales, a lot of people end up going into tech sales for software companies, developer, cybersecurity, database managers. There's a lot of different roles. Probably focus more at university, the kind of work you enjoy doing rather than a role title that you're going for. Big companies, startups, there's no doing information systems as a degree will not shut you out from any industry, right? It'll only open doors. It's not because that you get to choose kind of how technical you want to be and what kind of work you enjoy doing. There's a lot of opportunities out there. Basically, short of extremely technical roles that might require like a comp sci degree, the world's your oyster. And even on those really technical roles, those are available to you if you want to put in the work, do the technical electives, do self-training online that's available, right? So yeah, a lot of career opportunities is the short answer.
Yeah, that's great. So building from that, how would you then describe the employability of information systems graduates?
It's probably one of the strongest out of all the comm majors, to be honest. I remember I was looking at some of the numbers for Info Sys registrations at UNSW. This has probably changed because this was back in 2018, 2019. But a good chunk, if not almost the majority of registrations for an Info Sys degree didn't come from first years, it came from second years. So it came from people who had joined a different major, started applying for internships, realized how valuable having an Info Sys major was on their resume or just for their own knowledge, and then ended up switching majors.
Yeah,
that's like a big part of where it comes from. And now high school students are more aware of how great it is employment-wise to be in technology, and so they're doing it from the beginning. Technology talent is just getting more and more sought after, more and more in demand.
Yeah.
So I was talking to the HR manager at one of the HR managers at my company, and they were talking about how they don't expect demand for tech talent to peak until at least 5-10 years, right? So it's just going to keep getting more and more intense, more and more competitive, and that's great for us. It's very much a talent market, which means that people with an Info Sys background, you have a lot more opportunity, a lot more power in the kind of work that you want to do. So yeah, it's incredibly employable. Obviously, breaking in and kind of piercing the veil is the hardest bit. But kind of once you kind of get past that initial struggle, the world's your oyster.
All right, so the future is then looking optimistic for us Info Sys students. Amazing. So now that we kind of feel relieved that hopefully we will get a job once we graduate, how would you describe our success in the workplace for you? What does it look like as an Info Sys graduate within the workplace?
Yeah, so I think something that you learn in the degree, and that is definitely true, probably more true in the real world, is it's very outcome focused. So creating real value for your stakeholders, whether it be your manager, your customer, user, whoever, right? The best companies, especially for young people, so this is why startups is so attractive, are those that are very outcome focused.
Yeah.
Those are probably the two big ones. The other one I would say is that workplace success, or what I would consider to be a successful work environment, would be one where you're always growing and learning, and while figuring out what you want to specialize in, especially at a younger age, but even more so when you get older, because the learning really doesn't stop when you graduate, nor should it, because you're in technology, and because what we know about technology now will be obsolete in 5 years. And so you need to be constantly updating your own knowledge, and you need to be aware of what's going on in the world.
Thank you so much for helping us out with unpacking the information systems major, even if you were a graduate of the actual information systems degree. But I think that really helped us go more in depth with what information systems is and what it'll look like for our students in the future.
Thank you so much for having me.
No worries, it's a pleasure. All right, so thank you guys as well for tuning in, and we will see you in the next episode where we will be tackling accounting.